Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Coaching Weekly on the Online Football Academy. Today's video is packed with drills you can use with your players, so let's get straight into it. As you can see, this is the structure of the first session of the week. Like most weeks, Football Tennis was set up for the players to play when they arrived, but I also set up a little passing and movement exercise that I did with players if they wanted to work on it. We then had the usual 2 main drills and finished off with small-sided games. The short passing and moving drill was really simple and I didn't really focus on any coaching points, but I did make sure to say to the players that they needed to play positive passes. And for me, a positive pass is a hard pass into my feet that makes me take 2 touches. And then I also made sure the player focused on using their back foot to take a directional touch around the back of the cone. I did this for about 20 to 30 seconds for each player. And altogether there was actually 5 or 6 players who wanted to do the exercise, so it was really good for them to get touches before the actual session began. The players then went for a light warm-up and then broke into 2 smaller groups like usual. The first group worked on passing and attacking overloads. To start, the passing exercise was quite easy with 2 balls going at the one time. As you can see, the starting player passes forward to a teammate who takes a touch and plays a diagonal pass to the opposite starting cone. As you can see, the coaching points were to play hard weighted or fizzed in passes to teammates, so it tests their control, which then links to the second coaching point, which is to take positive touches when receiving the ball. This exercise can really test the players when they are asked to play powerful passes, which then tests the positive touch of the player gaining possession of the ball. Once the players had gotten used to the ball at their feet, they then moved into the next session of the drill, which was attacking overloads in the 18-yard box. This is an exercise that has already popped up in the Coaching Weekly series, but it is a really good exercise to allow the players to work on attacking and defending overloads. As you can see, the coaching points were to focus on positive directional touches, movement off the ball, and getting shots on target. Trying to get players to take positive directional touches is quite difficult, as they always want to take a touch on their stronger foot, but we are trying to challenge the players to take a positive touch with their weak foot, which then could set them up to play on their stronger foot. Again, we focused on movement off the ball. This is a focus on the attacking team, so they can try and move off the ball to create supporting angles for the player with the ball. The third coaching point was getting shots on target, which sounds very simple, but there are many times during training when players take shots from absolutely everywhere in really silly positions. So we are trying to put a focus on not forcing a shot, but waiting for the right opportunity to come up and for players to take a good shot which at least hits the target. While players were working on drill 1, other players were working on drill 2, which was a fun headers game. Unfortunately, our players are struggling with heading the ball, so we decided to play this fun game for them to work on it. As you can see, you split the group into 2 teams. Coaches then throw a ball into the area. One team attacks the ball, only using their head to try and score. The other team are lined up along their goal line and have to stop the headers going into the net, but are not allowed to use their hands or feet. We made sure that both groups got the same amount of headers, so we made it that little bit more competitive to see which team actually won. The coaching points were to focus on the technique of heading, keeping your eye on the ball the entire time and using your forehead to head the ball in the direction you want it to go. Communication was also a massive coaching point. We didn't want the players to run into each other, so we made sure that we restricted the players by not allowing any goals if the player headed the ball and scored but didn't call their name. So that meant that if they really wanted to head the ball, they had to call their name loud, get their head onto that ball and try and score in the back of the opposition net. And the final coaching point was to work on the timing of runs. What was really good for this exercise was that the players really enjoyed it. They worked on their headers but also had a great laugh in doing so, and we didn't do it for a ridiculous amount of time. After the 2 drills finished and all groups worked on their specific areas, we moved into small-sided games. We didn't really focus on coaching points during the small-sided games as we just let the players play, but we did try to get the players to focus on continuing to make movements off the ball for their teammates and to continue to communicate, as the communication in the headers game was very good, so we wanted this to continue in the small-sided games. The second session of the week looked like this: football tennis for the arrival activity. For the warm-up, the players did a small passing exercise and then went for light jogs through the exercise. The players then were split into 3 groups and did 3 drills, but then we finished on a 1v1 practice instead of small-sided games. The passing exercise was very simple. 6 players around the square with 2 footballs. The players then pass the footballs around the square. As you can see, the coaching points were to continue to focus on using the back foot. We really wanted the players to take 2 touches throughout the practice to get that repetitive motion of taking 2 touches. We then wanted the players to work on their speed. Players' speed can be both mental and physical, and we wanted the players to work on both in this exercise. Because there were 2 footballs going at the one time, we didn't want one football catching up with the other, and we wanted the players to constantly be thinking about where the next ball was and when they were getting it and what they were going to do with it, so that helped with the speed of play. Drill 1 was a 3+3 versus 3, so basically a 6v3 possession drill. 3 teams of 3, 1 team pressing with 2 teams trying to keep possession of the ball. Once the defending team got the ball, they tried to score in one of the 2 small goals. The team that gave possession away then became the pressing team after the goal. As you can see, the coaching points were to keep possession of the ball, play at a good speed and continue to practice using the back foot. Keeping possession sounds very easy and very simple, but we all know in youth football that these players aren't yet at Man City's ability, so keeping possession of the ball can be quite difficult at times. What worked for us is counting the number of passes that have been made before possession has been lost, so then the players keeping possession have a target to try and beat. Again, we took the coaching point of speed of play into this drill. We wanted the players to continue to play at a good intensity and use their brain and awareness to look for good passes and supportive angles to keep possession of the ball. We are also trying to keep the focus on using the back foot so it becomes natural for the players to use their back foot during training and in matches. Drill 2 worked on shooting 2v1s and 3v2s. The process of the drill was very easy and the coaching points worked on were for the attackers. The first player takes a touch and then shoots. As they hit their shot, the first defender then passes to an attacker who then attacks and creates a 2v1. Once the 2v1 finishes, the second defender passes to the third attacker who attacks and creates a 3v2. The coaching points were positive movement in attack, use of the back foot and getting good shots on target. Positive movement forward was quite good throughout this exercise as players were making all sorts of runs to make supportive angles and supportive runs to create space for their attacking teammates. Practice on using the back foot continued, but this time I focused on trying to get the players to think about using their back foot to set themselves up for a shot on target or movement towards goal. The last coaching point was for the players to get good shots on target. Drill 3 was an exercise that has already been on Coaching Weekly. The coaching points were quite similar to Drill 1, working on keeping the ball, using the back foot and interchanging movements. Keeping possession in this exercise is difficult due to the small play area, but it means the players have to be aware of their surroundings and play quickly when they have the ball and trying to get the ball to keep possession of it. Again, just like the other drills, we worked on the use of the back foot through this drill, and just like last week, the majority of the success in this drill came from players using their back foot at either side of the area, which allowed the players to transition from end to end very quickly. We worked on interchanging movements. This just means movement off the ball, but this time trying to get players to swap positions and make moves off the ball at the same time. This can be really useful when coaches are trying to work on short, sharp combination play while players are on the move, but that is for another week. The players then finished with a 1v1 practice. The players lined up in pairs behind the coach with one pair in front of the coach and facing the goal with a goalkeeper in nets. The coach then rolled, bounced or threw the ball forward and the players raced to get to the ball first and had to try and score past the goalkeeper with pressure. There was no coaching points in this exercise as we just wanted the players to have a little bit of fun with a little bit of competitiveness to end the session. So that is it for episode 4 of Coaching Weekly. Altogether there have been 8 exercises for you guys to use with your teams. Again, if you do use these exercises with your players, please let us know how you get on. Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also why don't you connect with us on Facebook. Thank you.